The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Well, Aaron Glenn is now available for the Jets to hire after that game last night. Will the Jets hire Glenn? We'll talk about that and more. It's the Jake Asman Show on a Sunday. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Who's the coach? Who's the GM? Who's the quarterback? At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go on a Sunday. Click that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you want bonus content, access to our private Discord channel, bonus shows, 20% off all merch items, join the Patreon at patreon.com/Jake Asman Show, or just click on the link in the description box for this show that you're watching right now. I will be hosting on ESPN New York today from 4 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Brian Costello, Jet reporter for the New York Post, is going to join me at 4:45 today. So if you want more Jet talk, listen in on the radio, 8:80 a.m., or by downloading the ESPN New York app. Aaron Glenn's defense last night stunk. He's ready to be the next head coach of the Jets. Aaron Glenn is reportedly the favorite to be the coach of the Jets, and now as of yesterday, he's now free to talk with the Jets in person, and the Jets can hire him since the Lions have been eliminated from the playoffs. I'm going to play you what Rich Cimini said yesterday before the game on ESPN New York Radio, and then I'll give you my thoughts on if last night's game should matter in regards to Aaron Glenn and his candidacy to be the next coach of the Jets.
You know, Aaron Glenn, I would still say, is getting the most. I think he'd be an outstanding hire. I mean, Flores is a positive guy. I mean, Arthur Smith, I think, has a shot. I know fans would probably, pick it if they got Arthur Smith, but, he is an experienced head coach, offensive guy. So I would say Glenn, from just talking to agents in the industry and, hearing the buzz, I'd probably label him as the front runner at this point. Although, like I said, they're still not even into the second round of interviews yet, so anything can happen.
I mean, it feels like Aaron Glenn, just based on the hype and media reports, is the front runner. But you do wonder if a game like last night changes anything in regards to that feeling. Look, I see both sides of it, right? On one hand, you don't want to judge a coaching candidate by one game because it was 2 weeks ago that Aaron Glenn's defense completely shut down Sam Darnold and the Vikings with the 1 seed on the line. But last night was an awful look. Let's call it for what it is. You could still like Aaron Glenn as a head coaching candidate and acknowledge last night was terrible to watch that defense get destroyed by Jaden Daniels. And by the way, it's funny. The Jets are going to interview the Washington Commanders defensive coordinator to be their head coach today, Joe Witt Jr. The coordinator that the Jets should be interviewing in this game last night is Cliff Kingsbury, who they interviewed in 2019 before they hired Adam Gase. They didn't even request Cliff Kingsbury, and Cliff played for the Jets. How do you not even request Cliff Kingsbury? You know you're going to have to draft a quarterback, if not this year, then likely next year. Why wouldn't you at least reach out and talk to the guy? But that's a side note. But as far as Glenn last night, I mean, his defense stunk, but it wasn't just him. The Lions offensively were terrible too. They turned the ball over, 4 times? Ben Johnson got way too cute with some of his play calls. I mean, Jared Goff reverted back into what he was before he got traded. I mean, they got dominated. Let's call it for what it is. That was an awful performance all around by the Lions. What they had, 4 turnovers last night? Like, you can't win that way. You can't win when you turn the ball over that many times in big spots, too. And it was actually 5 total turnovers. They had the one extra interception late. But, I mean, that was as bad as it gets, though, for a, quote, defensive-minded coach in that setting to allow that many points. Let's be honest. It doesn't mean that Aaron Glenn can't be a good coach. A year ago, Dan Quinn, who was the head coach of the Commanders now, his team allowed 48 points when he was the Cowboys DC against Jordan Love and the Packers in that first round wild card playoff game. So you can't just judge a coordinator on a 1-game sample size. You're evaluating Aaron Glenn on the totality of his work as a DC, whether you believe his leadership skills can translate to being a head coach, whether you believe he can hire the right coaching staff, he can handle the New York media, the expectations from the fan base. That's what you're evaluating Aaron Glenn on. But you don't want to completely dismiss last night, while at the same time, you also don't want to sit here and make that some sort of like referendum on who Aaron Glenn is as a coaching candidate. Aaron Glenn is not my first choice. I see the appeal, but I don't want another first-time coach from a defensive background. That's my big thing. I want the Jets to hire, of the guys they spoke to, right? I'm only going to base it on that because for whatever reason, they haven't even spoken to Mike McCarthy yet, or Pete Carroll, or John Gruden. And if they did, my opinion would be different. But of the guys they've spoken to, I still remain in the camp of I want someone with experience, and I want the guy with the best resume. And that's Brian Flores, whose last 2 years as a head coach in the division the Jets play in was 10-6, 9-7. From Brooklyn, understands the media here, understands New York. That, to me, is still the guy. They haven't spoken to McCarthy. I like Josh McCown. I don't know if I'm willing to hire a first-time coach. But honestly, I might be more open to McCown than Glenn, if I'm being real with you guys, the more I think about McCown. He's offensive-minded. Everyone swears by him. We know he's got the leadership skills. It's a crapshoot no matter who they hire if you're going to go with a first-timer. Is it crazy to say I'd rather McCown over Glenn at this point? What does Aaron Glenn do that I have to hire him as a coach? Everything we say about Aaron Glenn, we say about Robert Saleh. Or we said about Robert Saleh. It got to a point where I went back and actually played the video of me reacting to Robert Saleh being hired. And everything I said about Saleh, we're now saying about Glenn. Leader of men, learn from great coaches, going to coach the whole team. That's what Saleh was hyped up to be. So why is Aaron Glenn getting all this hype and buzz over Brian Flores, who's been a head coach in this league and has done a good job overall? Overachieved with those Dolphin teams. Why is Aaron Glenn so far ahead of Josh McCown? McCown played for the Jets as well. And also, how about this for a factor? Josh McCown played for this ownership group. He knows the Johnson brothers. He can handle them. Aaron Glenn had 2 years of Woody Johnson at the beginning of his tenure as an owner. It's not the same thing. But once again, I want the Jets to interview Mike McCarthy. They haven't. I want the Jets to interview Cliff Kingsbury. They haven't. I want the Jets to interview Pete Carroll, John Gruden. They haven't. So I could only evaluate my options as a Jet fan based on who the Jets have spoken to. And they haven't spoken to enough candidates that I feel comfortable going, okay, we've talked to everybody. No, you talked to Mike Loxley and Ron Rivera and Rex Ryan and a bunch of guys who have no chance of getting the job. Arthur Smith. Are you kidding me? So I'm not sitting here telling you Aaron Glenn is going to be a bad coach. But last night's a bad look. I'm not going to define him, but it's a bad look. I think you can acknowledge that. But my frustration is like, Why are we anointing Aaron Glenn when there's guys that are proven to be good coaches available? The Jets think they're good enough to just thumb their nose at Mike McCarthy. Are you kidding me? Mike McCarthy's had how many winning seasons as a head coach? Mike McCarthy just dealt with Jerry Jones and the hoopla that is the Cowboys media circus. You don't think he could come in and stabilize things for the Jets? The Jets are in a spot where they're in hell right now. You have to get out of hell before you could worry about reaching the mountaintop. Oh, but Jake, Mike McCarthy has never won a Super Bowl outside of that 1 year with Rodgers. He's underachieved. I mean, fair. I'm not worried about winning a Super Bowl. Winning a Super Bowl. You know what I'm worried about? Stopping the bleeding here. The Jets are the biggest joke in professional sports. Their perception is that. Whether that's true or not, that is the perception. And sometimes perception is reality. Mike McCarthy stops the bleeding. He builds a program. He's got a high floor as a coach. Okay, 3 years from now, maybe the Jets can't get over the hump. Wouldn't that be nice to have that conversation as opposed to playoff drought is now at 15, 16, or 17 years and counting? They got to get these hires right. You could swing for the fence with your next hire after you stabilize things. Right now, you got to get out of hell. You got to get above ground. You can't worry about getting to the top of the mountain when you're in hell. But we're going to sell Aaron Glenn as the end-all, be-all. Why? Because the media likes him? I mean, please. I'm not telling you Aaron Glenn's not a good candidate, but the goo-goo and gagaing over the guy was nauseating this past week. And don't put it on me. I wasn't doing that on this show. He's a good candidate. He is. He's also a defensive-minded guy that's never been a head coach before. There's a huge risk there. I can't emphasize this enough. Please interview Mike McCarthy. Please interview Pete Carroll. Please interview John Gruden. Request Cliff Kingsbury. You don't think that guy deserves some consideration second time around? What he's learned? Crazy to me. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. Once again, I'm not defending Aaron Glenn, but I'll give you both sides of it. This was Aaron Glenn's defense last night. All right, they've had to use 30 starters this season. There's a reason why he's been getting so much praise. It's because here's their starting depth chart, and you look at who played in this game last night. Here's their two deep. They used a record amount of players on defense this year. So, look, Aaron Glenn, good candidate. Do I want another first-time coach with no experience on the defensive side of the ball? No. I'd rather Brian Flores. He's been a head coach before. Frustrating. Very frustrating. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. I am approaching 41,000 subscribers. I'm about 20 away. Please subscribe to the channel and help me get to that number. Also, we have our next raffle coming up early this week, most likely on Tuesday. If you want a chance to win a signed Joe Klecko jersey or a signed Garrett Wilson helmet or a replica Super Bowl III Joe Willie Namath ring, gift a membership, and we will add you down to our raffle. You could gift a membership or a $20 super chat will get you 5 raffle tickets. Gusbuster hotline link is pinned. We'll take your calls. Let's say hello to Doug on the couch, who's first up today. Hello, Doug.
Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Doug. How are you?
My only thing is I don't have a huge problem with Glenn. I just want the GM first. If they choose to go with Glenn, that's fine. But I don't think Glenn's the guy you go, oh, yeah, we're going to hire this guy first and then worry about the GM. I think that would be a huge mistake.
Why do you think they're going to hire the GM first?
Yeah, I want to be now with Glenn done and Flores done, McCown done, which would we all presume to be the top 3 or 4 candidates. The only other guy would be Joe Brady, maybe if they lose tonight. So then your 4 or 5 top candidates are on the board. So if that happens, I would expect all the hires to be done by this week.
I mean, Joe Brady's an interesting name too. I'd be like, there's no reason why I wouldn't seriously consider Joe Brady versus Aaron Glenn. I mean, Joe Brady's on the offensive side of the ball. They think he's got the leadership qualities to do it. You know, I'd be fine with Glenn. I guess I don't love it, but I'd be more open to Brady because of his offensive background.
Yeah. For me, if we go with McCown, it's kind of like when the Bengals went with Zach Taylor. You know, he was their quarterback coach, hadn't been an OC yet. So it would kind of be like that if the Jets choose to go the McCown route. But I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be one of McCown, Brady, Glenn, or Flores. That's the four I think it's going to be between. I don't see really any else getting it. And I agree with you. They should interview McCarthy. I don't want them to hire McCarthy, but there's no downside to interview the guy. We've already interviewed anyone who has a pulse, so why not add 2 more guys or something?
Yeah, we're wasting time on Mike Loxley, but we can't interview Mike McCarthy. Give me a break.
I mean, Loxley's probably just to fill the Rooney rule, but you're interviewing a lot of minority coaches anyway, so I don't.
That's why it's not to fill the Rooney rule. It's to do a favor for the 33rd team. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Or the agent.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
Doug,
have a great time.
You look ridiculous with whatever is that the Quinnipiac logo behind you?
Quinnipiac logo.
Get back on the couch, Doug. What is this? Your call's done. All right. Can't set the tone with that. Need you on the couch. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Let's say hello on the Gusbuster hotline to June, the GM. Hello, June.
Hey, what's going on, Jake? Listen, I can bang the table all I want for Glenn. You can bang for Flores, whoever else. But here's something we're not talking about. What in the hell is this 33rd team doing? We fired our coach so early in the season. It's not about the quantity of people we interview, but the quality. And I'm absolutely 110% in agreement with you. My number one choice out of these coaches here, I like Glenn, but he's not my overall number one choice if we were to interview Chucky. I've been screaming Chucky for weeks. John Gruden, I don't know why we didn't interview Gruden. You're absolutely right about Mike McCarthy. I don't know how he doesn't get an interview, being that Rodgers is still on our team. And then you're talking about the plethora of dudes to interview, and it's great. We ain't bringing Liam Cole. I don't know why we ain't bringing that kid. Great offensive coordinator. If you talk about the offensive side of the ball, I don't know. Once again, we're doing stupid stuff. This is what we do. This is what our organization has been known for doing. Stupid stuff. And this 33rd team, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Honestly, I just don't.
I mean, I like the idea of using them because I want more people in the room to advise Woody, who I don't think is good at anything. So yeah. I like the idea of getting some voices, some football people helping. I just don't love the head coaching candidate list. I don't. I think they've got a couple guys that I like, but they haven't spoken to 3 guys out there who all want to coach again that have Super Bowl rings on their finger in McCarthy, Carroll, and Gruden. And I think that's a huge mistake.
Huge mistake. And to be honest,
look at the Commanders. The Commanders, they got criticized at the time for it, but they were right. They hired Dan Quinn, who's been a head coach before, went to a Super Bowl, didn't win, but went to a Super Bowl, was a great DC with the Cowboys. By the way, his team got boat raced in the playoffs and he left. And now they're in the AFC NFC championship game. Yeah. So it's like you have to talk to guys with previous coaching experience that have had success. The Commanders did it. They hired Quinn. The Jets haven't even had a conversation with Mike McCarthy, which is crazy.
And you know one thing, too, we can't overlook, too, for all the people who are stuck on analytics, because it is a part of the game. But analytics and all that goes out the window. Numbers don't matter when you got a tatter like Daniels. When you got a kid who can make plays like that off script, running for first downs, throwing lasers on the tight rope while on the run, great players win big games. Like that's what we saw yesterday. Yes, Aaron Glenn, bad, too much blitzing, bad play calling. Ben Johnson get too sexy with his play calling, getting too cute. But great players win big games. And that kid Daniels, am I going crazy to say he's a top 5 quarterback already in the NFL? Because that's how he's looking to me.
I mean, he's playing like it. We did this with CJ Stroud though last year too, though, June. So
Yes.
the league will adjust, things change. But no, I mean, Jane Daniels looks amazing. Honestly, I know Jet fans are frustrated with what they saw from the Lions defense last night. Imagine being a Giants fan. You won 3 meaningless games with Tommy DeVito, and that's why you don't have Jane Daniels. When you're on camera being documented on Hard Knocks, where your head coach Brian Dable is saying, "Yeah, I'd trade up for Daniels." They could have had him for nothing if they just lost the games they were supposed to lose a year ago.
Torture. And before I jump off, can you please tell me your pick for tonight's games, today's games?
I like the Eagles and the Bills.
Ooh, interesting. I like the Eagles in the tight one, but I'm going to take the Ravens over the Bills tonight.
Lamar's got to prove it, June. We'll see. I mean, Josh Allen's been a way better playoff quarterback. I want to see how Lamar handles all the pressure. We'll see. I'm rooting for the Ravens. I definitely don't want to see the Bills win. I hope the Ravens knock off the Chiefs. But we'll see. Super chat from Fiore. He cuts the line. $10 super chat. And by the way, for today's show, $10 super chats will get you 2 raffle tickets as we have today and tomorrow before the raffle on Tuesday for the signed Klecko and signed Garrett merchandise. Fiore says Jets are going to have to develop a quarterback. Quinn had Cliff, experienced guy, got an experienced guy. Odds are Glenn's going to hire a rookie OC in DC on top of that. McCarthy developed Rodgers. Makes no sense. The only thing I'd push back on Fiore is we have no idea who Glenn's going to hire. I don't know if he's going to hire a rookie OC in DC. You don't know that. I do know that McCarthy should be interviewed, though. Completely agree. And I do know Dan Quinn was brilliant for hiring Cliff Kingsbury. 100%. I don't know who Aaron Glenn's going to hire. I'd imagine he'd have at least some experience on his staff, though. You would think he'd have at least 1 or 2 guys that have been head coaches before on his staff. If Josh McCown was the head coach, I bet he'd try and hire Doug Peterson as the OC. I'd like that. Remember, Wade Phillips was Sean McVay's DC when McVay was the youngest head coach in NFL history when he got the Rams job. That was smart. Super chats here. Some Asmaniac ones from Boring Sober Guy. 3 points from last night. Detroit's O lost the game. Glenn had to cobble together a D out of square parts. Trust the process. It worked for the commies. You can't even compare Dan Quinn to Aaron Glenn, though. Dan Quinn was a coach that went to a Super Bowl and made the playoffs multiple times in Atlanta. I want experience. Give me Brian Flores over Aaron Glenn. Once again, I want McCarthy. They haven't interviewed him. I can only give you guys thoughts on the guys they have interviewed, right? Who do you want? It's easy for me to throw out a guy they haven't spoken to. Of the guys they spoke to, Flores, honestly, I put McCown ahead of Glenn now. Maybe that's I don't want another defensive guy. All right, defensive guy whose defense got destroyed last night when it mattered. I'm not saying Glenn can't be a good coach. If he is the coach, I work for him. That's probably who they're going to end up hiring. But I'm tired of the same thing. I am. I will roll the dice with McCown and hope he hires a hell of a staff with coaching experience on it over doing the defensive coordinator thing again. I want Flores, though. I made it very clear. I want Brian Flores. I want Mike McCarthy. They haven't even spoken to the guy. So what am I supposed to do? K. Brock writes in, Glenn Flores paired with McCown. McCown is not taking a OC job. Not happening. So you could forget it. Draft writes in, Mike McCarthy always has a winning season when his quarterback's healthy. Yeah, he's a good coach. Is he limited as far as the ceiling? Sure. Does he have a high floor? Yeah. Imagine winning 12 or more games 3 years in a row and being considered an underachiever. Imagine that. 12 games in a year is almost the total of the Jets have won in 2 years. In fact, actually it is. They won 7 2 years ago. They won 5 this year. I suck at math, but 7 plus 5, I believe, is 12. Mike McCarthy won 12 games or more 3 consecutive years before this year when Dak got hurt, Micah Parsons got hurt, DeMarcus Lawrence got hurt. I mean, that's more wins than the Jets have had in the last 2 years. Dante, Gruden, McCarthy, Kingsbury. Why aren't they interviewing these people? I mean, some of them could have said no, but I know for a fact McCarthy and Gruden would take interviews. For a fact. And they're not talking to them. V-Man, Jake, apparently, according to Rosenblatt, the Jets reached out to Cliff, but he shot them down. I didn't see where Zach said this, but if true, okay, fine. What's their excuse for not talking to Mike McCarthy or John Gruden or Pete Carroll? John B., McCown's a dark horse pick. Ton of upside. He does. He has more upside than Glenn. He does. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We are seeking more memberships if you want in on the Klecko jersey or the Garrett helmet. We're presented today by Huga House. See the hat I'm wearing? Get the hat I'm wearing or any Huga House hat 20% off when you use my link in the description. Or if you want 15% off, code Asman. But if you want to save even more money and buy some hats, HugaHouse.com. Use my link in the description to take you there, and you'll save 20%. As of today, they now have a bunch of new hoodies and hats that they just released. So get yourself a hat, a hoodie, a winter cap, you name it, they have it over at Huga House. Promo code Asman, or save even more money. Use my link that's in the description box. More of your calls right now. We say hello to Purple Belt Mike. Hello, PBM.
Yo, what's up?
Yes.
I still love Glenn, but McCown is my first guy. Like, I've always been saying that after hearing that he could be, the future KOC or next Sean McVay. That intrigues me more than a defensive guy, even more than Flores or whatever, just because we've been doing the same thing over and over. But I do like Glenn still, and I don't think it's his fault. I think he had 13 defensive players out with IR or something like that. So
I mean, I showed they're too deep. I mean, clearly, like their defense is not even close to what it was. But it's a bad look, though. I mean, like because if Glenn had this like unbelievable performance, what would everyone be saying? So good or bad, you shouldn't judge one game, but it's not a good look.
yeah, no, I know, but I don't think that we should judge him off of the one game. I think the totality of what he's done is what should be what he's judged on. But the offensive staff is like, I wouldn't even kick the tires on Kingsbury. What he's done with Jaden Daniels, like, I don't know. For us to win, I don't know. I keep thinking back and forth because this year, let's say, we had a defensive coach, old brick, all shit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The problem really was the defense. Couldn't come up with stops in the fourth quarter. Do you think Glenn could have changed those games? I mean, they have a different season. So, like, in my head, I flip-flop between maybe we do need a defensive guy, and then I'm like, well, we need a quarterback, a young guy, let's get an offensive guy. So I jump, I don't have the answers. Hopefully the 33rd team has the answers. But
yeah, I could see it being. I think it's going to come down to McCown versus Glenn. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I'd like Flores, but I get a feeling they're not going to hire him. We'll see.
I would take the shot at McCown at this point.
I rather McCown than
so
Glenn
long.
at this point. I would. I don't see the appeal of Aaron Glenn, which like I have to hire. He's a good coaching candidate, but it's also like let's try something different than another first-time defensive guy. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like Aaron Glenn would have to like just completely blow me away for me to choose him over an offensive guy if we're talking about first-timers with each go around here.
Yeah. That's why I really want an offensive guy, but if we're going defense, I don't mind shooting the shot with Glenn or Flores, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Beastbreaker privately just messaged, PBM, you're snoozing me.
Do you want to see my tattoo? Does that make you snooze?
Yeah, can you give us the tattoo?
Yeah. Let's see if I can prop this up. Hopefully this works. Am I in the frame? Because I can't see.
Oh, you're in the frame, all right. Give us a little Batman theme song.
I'm not doing a Batman theme song.
Batman.
Yeah.
Batman. Yeah.
All right, brother. I'll catch you later.
The great PBM, call into the radio show today. I'm on 4 to 6:30. Shout out to the company. Hit the like button for PBM. B Show writes in, Jake, when are you talking draft and doing mocks? When we have a GM and coach. Why would I do anything with the draft now? No one cares. John writes in, McCown's a dark horse. He is. I'm not saying they should hire him, but the idea that like Glenn is like leaps and bounds ahead of McCown, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I still want Brian Flores. Hey, Alan, shout out to your Lions last night, baby. Yeah, let's go Lions. Oh, the greatest team ever. Ah! God. Oh, I enjoyed watching the Lions lose. Loved it. Anyway, more of your calls right now. Let's say hello to a guy who's been dying to get in on the show. Neil is up next. Hello, Neil.
Hello, Jake. Happy Sunday. Alan, you son of a bitch. Where do you think Aaron Glenn now, Alan? Where is your boy Aaron Glenn now, Alan? Whoa, 45 points to a rookie quarterback.
To be fair, it wasn't 45 points all on defense. They had like 5 turnovers.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But that was close. But Jake, they couldn't stop a note. That defense, I mean, Washington basically scored on every. They moved the ball into the red zone every single drive of the game, from what I saw. Right? Either running the ball, they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. They made mistakes. They had 12 men on the field. The defensive staff looked like the crooked cops. Guys are going like this. They panicked, Jake.
It was a terrible defensive performance. Like, I want to be clear. I don't think this means that Aaron Glenn can't be a good coach, but I do think the idea that, he's just automatic. The Jets have to hire him. Like, they shouldn't even consider Flores. They shouldn't even consider interviewing Mike McCarthy, for example. Like, I've never subscribed to that. Like, I think Aaron Glenn is a qualified candidate, but like the goo-goo gaga-ing over the guy the last week, I thought was nauseating.
Like I said, I've been saying this all along. I don't see Aaron Glenn as like a leader. And the other thing that bothers me is all the players want him so bad. That is a red flag if I ever saw one. Because when the players want to coach, that means they want a country club, not a work environment where they're going to be disciplined. That is a red flag.
I don't know about that. Aaron Glenn's more of a hard ass than what Saleh was.
I don't know. I got to tell you. Look, I've been saying this from the start. And you said it, but you kind of, now you're with this McCown thing. Experience, there's no substitute for experience.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm also telling you that of the guys they spoke to, there's not a whole lot of guys with experience I like other than Flores. So that's why I'm considering McCown, because I think I would rather the offensive guy with no previous head coaching experience than the defensive guy with no previous head coaching experience.
Right. I mean, if we're going to go defense and we want a defensive-minded coach, I'll take Steve Spagnuolo over Aaron Glenn.
Look, Spags is an awesome. To me, he's a Hall of Fame assistant coach. He is.
His defense didn't look so bad yesterday. You know, when he has to close a game out, okay, I see safeties coming up the middle unblocked. I see whenever he, I got to tell you something. Andy Reid gets all the credit and all the accolades, but Jesus Christ, Spagnuolo, whether he's on Chiefs, when he was on the Giants, Super Bowl rings all over his hands. He's going to have he has a Super Bowl with the Giants. Now he's going to have another one this year. He's going to have 6 Super Bowl rings, and the guy isn't even considered for a head coaching position because he had 2 down years with the Rams.
They were awful, though. I mean, he was 11 and
41.
They
were awful. I agree. Now, wait, let me ask you a question. The coach on the Redskins, what's his name now?
Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn wasn't a world beater with the Falcons. I know he had a couple good seasons, but he also had a dud or two, didn't he, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, he ended up getting fired. He was there like 5 or 6 years. I mean, Dan Quinn's a good coach. And
what was his record with the Falcons over 5 years?
I don't have that in front of me.
I don't think it was 500.
No, it was. He had a winning record. I mean, they made the playoffs a lot when he was there.
Well, I want to tell you something. If they don't get out there and lasso, you know,
He was 43 and 42 with the Falcons. He was 8-8, 11-5, 10-6. Then he was 7-9, 7-9, 0-5. He got fired midseason in 2020.
There you go. I mean, and now, with that record, he's coming on here with a rookie quarterback and making it work. And hey, look, Kingsbury gets a lot of credit for that. I mean, let's face it. Kingsbury looks really, really good to me. He looks like he's poised. He didn't get the big spot, didn't affect him. But, I don't believe Zach Rosen. These guys don't know. How does he know that he turned them down, Zach Rosenblatt?
I mean, they haven't interviewed him, but regardless, okay, so you can't talk to Cliff. Mike McCarthy's a better option than Cliff Kingsbury. Talk to him.
Look, Mike McCarthy is coming to us on a silver platter, okay? He's got experience with Rodgers. He's got experience as a head coach. Dallas is a dumpster fire right now. He could pick anybody he wants on his staff.
He handled Jerry Jones. He can handle dealing with Woody Johnson in the New York media.
This is such a layup. I don't even understand. Only us would not interview the most common sense coach hire we could possibly have. To me, it's a no-brainer here, and we're just not even in. We don't even bring him into the building. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's why I want Flores, because he's the only one with a resume of guys they spoke to that I could see doing a good job with a second opportunity.
Right. I mean, Flores, okay. I'd be so much happier with Flores. I just think we're going to be in the same boat 3 years from now with Aaron Glenn that we were here with Saleh. I just don't. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Peter Castro and Rob promised they would be on the StreamYard. Are they in the background now? They wanted to come on. I don't think they're there yet. Peter Castro. There he is. There they are. Hey, you got your wife beater on, Rob? What do you got on there? It looks like you got a wife beater on. What is
old Jet shirt. Jets, old shirt.
Rob, I just went to the pork store. Rob, let me break it down for you, Rob. We just went to the pork store, Michelle and I. We got a nice half-pound of prosciutto de Parma. We're going to have a little wrap breadsticks with prosciutto. Nice. Then we got ravioli.
You get some gabagoula?
Forget about V-Man with his crooked cooking and all these other jerks. They don't know what a good meal is. I'm going to feed the big Rob today. We're going to eat nice. Right, Robert?
Yes.
Hey, Alan, yes. Alan, what are you doing? Crying, Alan?
Where's Alan?
Where's
Put him
Alan?
On here. I want to.
He's crying. He's writing the Three Stooges. Meanwhile, he's crying. What happened to the Lions? Oh, what happened?
Where's the Lions? Yeah.
What happened?
Where's Alan?
Know it all.
Alan, you fraud. Alan, you fraud.
Yeah,
where are you? Time
Dirt
for the
bag,
next
where
team.
are you?
I guess
Get out of here, Alan.
Next,
Show your face. I know. Wait.
Yeah, come on, Alan.
Fraud.
Come
Listen,
on,
Alan,
you
you're
fraud.
available now. You told us you would not be available because you got an NFL job with the Lions.
Yeah,
You're
what are
out
you
of
doing?
it
Bringing
now,
the
so
water
get on
boy?
the
What are you,
frickin'
part of the water boy
screen.
company?
Take your punishment, Alan. Let's go.
Where's that fraud, Jake? Alan. Oh, I got a job with the NFL. Get the fuck out of here.
He's so full of shit.
Nobody would hire that dunce.
Dunce.
Come on, where is he now? With his big
He's
mouth.
retired. He's retired from calling in.
He's on every show on YouTube. That's where he is. Every show he's on. Whoever will listen to him.
What was he saying? Oh, Jake, I'm not a dumb guy. I got a job with the NFL. Get the hell out of here.
I can't come on anymore. I can't come on. I got a job. I'm working with Dan Campbell.
Guys, you know what happened. His wife said, if you call up, I'm divorcing you. That's what happened.
Exactly.
Rob, I think you hit the nail right on the head. We haven't seen Mrs. Allen. Has she ever been in Jake? She's never even showed her face on the show, has she?
Hey, Jake.
I've never met her. I don't know.
Jake, why aren't they calling in McCarthy? I mean, if we're going to settle for Glenn, they're not hiring Flores because they would have hired him already.
No,
they're not going to hire him.
Get a second interview, Peter. Yeah, I don't think that's an out yet.
They can't meet with him in person until tomorrow. They're going to get a GM I still think Flores is in play. I don't know why they're not talking to McCarthy, though. It really bothers me.
Jake, all due respect, this 33rd team, These bunch of morons. How can they not interview McCarthy? How can they not interview Brian Flores or Gruden or Pete Carroll? But these dumbbells, they're saying the hot commodity, Aaron Glenn. Knock it off. He got exposed yesterday. I don't want that guy as our coach. Hell no. I agree with these guys. I would put McCarthy first, and then I would take Flores next. I like Flores as a second choice, Jake. But people got to stop with this crap. We're going to suck for 2 or 3 years if we go the other way. But people are okay with it. Come on.
McCarthy won 12 games, 3 years in a row. You're not gonna even call him in? Are you kidding me? What kind of 33rd company? They stink. I would fire them in 2 minutes.
Yeah, they do. No, Peter's right. They freaking suck.
Wow. Let me just say this to you.
We know who to pick. How come they don't know who to pick? They pick all these duds. Bunch of duds coming in here. We don't want them. Taking so long with GM for? Why is it taking?
Do you realize with the 3 of us on screen here, this is 150 years of combined watching New York Jet football in the most miserable fashion. You don't think we recognize shit when we see it? We know. We may not know what's good, but we certainly know what's bad.
I get it.
Big mistake.
He called it. Peter called it with the top of the mountain last year. We always say, we'll give him a solid year. I got to give Peter all the accolades. He got on there. He said, get rid of all of them like a bunch of drug addicts. And he was not wrong. And did you see those guys, Aaron Glenn's staff on the sideline? 12 men on the field. They would look like they were lost.
Come on. How can you get fought with 12 men on the field?
4th and 1, he has 12 guys on the field.
This guy's going to run my team? A guy who got caught with 12 men on the field? This is the genius who's going to run our team? Come on. Get out of here. No way, Jake. No way. McCarthy, I'm sorry. I'm with these guys. McCarthy, and then I would take Flores, my second choice. But I'm pounding the drum for McCarthy.
Well, they haven't even interviewed McCarthy, so I
know. I still like Carroll in the building also, Peter. I want Pete Carroll in the building.
Wasn't any good.
Yeah. We need a culture changer.
Me too.
We need a culture changer.
You know what?
2019, what did they say? They did their due diligence on 2019. Oh, we already spoke to him in 2019. What the hell's wrong with Tannenbaum?
Listen,
jackass.
They're telling you, look what they did. They brought in Quinn and Daniels in Washington, right? Meanwhile, Daniels is a stud. That kid is great. He's making everybody look good. That kid is 1 in a million. I wish we had him. But you take Daniels away from Washington, where do you think they would be?
Oh my God.
PBM. You made a comment. You were a big Aaron Glenn fan. You with your goddamn tattoo. Stop saying I was 20-0 for the Jets. Everybody had the Jets winning at least 12 to 14 games. Okay, enough of this bullshit. Don't act like I was the only guy thinking the Jets were going to win. Get the hell out of here with that.
And how about Purple Belt Mike pushing McGowan? Are you kidding me?
I'll take him over Glenn. I'll take him over Glenn at this point.
Not as a head coach. I don't want him as a head coach.
Jake spikes his hair a little bit. He looks a little like McCown.
I would take McCown over Glenn. I would. I'd rather swing big on McCown than just do what we've done with Saleh, Bowles, Mangini, Rex, and just stay with defensive guys.
Cry at the wait. Didn't he cry at the thing like?
He's always crying. He cries at every game.
He'll
be at the podium crying after every loss.
He was crying, Jake.
His retirement press conference.
We don't want crybabies on the Jet.
That doesn't mean anything. The guy's beloved and is a quarterback, a leader. If they hire him over Glenn, I'd be okay with it. I don't want either, though. I want Brian Flores or McCarthy.
If somebody jumps offside and they lose a game, he'll start crying. He'll be at the podium. Ooh, get him out of here. What are you kidding?
I hope not.
Also, are you confusing McGowan with McCown, Peter? Your thoughts?
McCown, the guy that used to be the quarterback for the Jets. He stinks.
Yeah, McCown. Josh McCown.
Offensive coordinator, I'll give him a shot. That's it.
What about Flonase?
Wait.
I don't like him at all. And I never said Flonase.
Wait, McCown has a lot of experience. He coaches kids' high school team. He's very prepared.
Yeah, Nate makes a good point.
That's our next shot right
Rob
there.
was crying when Vrabel got hired. This is true, Rob. You were very emotional.
I was.
He wasn't crying.
I wanted Vrabel for sure.
Hey, we all wanted
But we didn't
Vrabel,
get him.
but, you know, sometimes you can't always
Well,
get.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
Listen.
There he is.
Yeah, listen. This is what I said.
Purple Belt.
This
You're
is what I
talking
said.
a lot of shit to me. I like you,
Listen.
Purple Belt, but you know you're
Look.
going a little overboard. You
Look.
you want to blame me for the losing season the Jets had. Let's be real.
Look, dude, you're making that. I never blamed you. What I'm
I
saying
don't know.
is,
You gave me a lot of shit about Rodgers.
Listen,
You gave me a
listen.
lot of every
Listen
time
for a
I
second
go on,
instead
you
of talking.
comment.
Listen.
You said 20
Listen
and 0.
for a
What
second.
do I want to do? I run the
Listen.
team. I don't run the team.
Listen. You
Go ahead.
said you can see shit when you see it, but when we were 2-6, still thought we were making the playoffs. That's all I said. Was, dude,
Right.
we have blind. What I was saying is we have blind faith in the team. I had blind faith in the team. I thought they were going to win the division. I wasn't taking a shot at you. I was
All right.
saying we have blind faith. We don't see shit. We don't. Because at 2-6, 99% of the world knew that we were out, but there was a little bit of faith in some of us. I had no faith. You had faith. But reality is this team is shit. That's the point. That's
No,
why
I don't.
said
I
that.
don't really think Purple Belt. Listen, if we were giant, let's just say this: we still have a really good roster. I don't believe we're shit. I believe if I was a Giant fan, I'd say we have shit. Not a Jet fan. You can't really say as a Jet fan that we have shit. We had shit coaching. We lost a lot of close games that we should have won, and it was just a freaky year. PBM, it's a freaky year. It's just, let me ask you a question.
Every year, right?
No, I get it. I get it. We always.
I'm burnt out from the losing.
I know you're burnt out. I get it.
My hope in winning is very low. I thought with Rodgers and all this shit, all the 2 years, when Jake says irreparable damage, he's right. I was Mr. Jet forever. This year, I am no longer Mr. fucking Jet. I am negative. I'm like Hawk. I'm negative. I'm like Allen. They got to prove it to me now. They got to fucking prove it.
But listen, the commies should have given you hope because look what they were last year. Look at the commies last year, 4-12. When's the last time they got into a Super Bowl?
But they have the opportunity to draft a quarterback. We don't have that opportunity to draft a quarterback.
I get it, but the quarterback is only one part of it.
I don't know.
The quarterback's one part of it. I mean, listen, Jason.
The quarterback's the biggest part of it.
Daniels is like, it's a miracle, okay? They could have been where they are with a lot of different quarterbacks. He just happens to be there, and I think he's having an amazing year, no doubt about it. But it's a product of the coaching. Kingsbury's got him on a Kingsbury's coaching him through the season, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. But
yeah, that's why I mentioned I like a former quarterback, an offensive coordinator. That's why, I forgot who said it. Why am I pushing McCown? McCown's a former quarterback and has respect, and he's seen all throughout the organizations. If he can be good, why not with us?
Right, but I don't
Instead
know
of
about
doing the same thing over and over and over again, retreading. Let's try something different.
The problem I see though, PBM, is I see a problem with him being a head coach. It's a different animal altogether. You can't make a guy a head coach, and then he's going to take care of developing a quarterback. Then he's going to take care of the defense. A coach is basically, think about it. It's a CEO. He's a distributor. He takes talent and he basically puts it in different positions and makes the team stronger. That's the job of a head coach. Not that we have a great defensive coordinator who's going to be a great head coach. It does not translate. We've seen that over and over and over again.
That's my issue.
That's why I'd rather have a guy.
That's my Rex issue.
Right.
Everything you said was my issue with having Rex.
Okay, look, Rex's problem is he's been out of football too long, so he really doesn't have a pulse.
But even when he was in football, he focused on the defense, and his drafts, the roster went to shit when he couldn't evaluate talent.
Right, but he didn't hire. The guys have to hire talented OCs and DCs and not worry about, look, Salah is a perfect example here. we found out after the fact that he was the best coach on the whole team. I mean,
Yeah.
that means he didn't have the common sense he didn't want to hire good people around him, because if you hire good people around you, PBM, you always run the risk of those people taking over your job. I think that has a lot to do with a lot of guys' coaching decisions and assistant decisions. You have to go into this thing saying, I'm going to get the best people possible to work with it within the system.
I
And
think
you
the
gotta
second one, excuse me.
All right, we're back. Thank you very much to Neil. Thank you to PBM, clearing their differences. More of your calls coming up. More opportunities to get into the raffle. Super chat from Thomas. And for today's show, $10 super chats will get you 2 raffle tickets in the Klecko and Garrett Wilson merch. Maybe the 33rd team doesn't like the agents of McCarthy, Gruden, Carroll. I want McCown. I don't believe that's the case. I think Gruden is because of basically the blackballing that's going on with him. Because no team has spoken to Gruden. Teams have spoken to Carroll and McCarthy. Why can't the Jets do that? There's PR involved in this. At least talk to them. Yeah, you gave Rex Ryan a courtesy interview. Talk to Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has won a lot of games for a long time. You think that the Broncos regret hiring Sean Payton? They traded for him. Now look at Sean Payton's career resume and Mike McCarthy's. It surprised you how similar they are. Mike McCarthy is fat Sean Payton. Talk to him. Aurora in the house. Personally, I'd like to see an experienced GM to handle the cap. I'm open to a first-time head coach, but have to have an experienced staff, which will follow them. I mean, my thing is, if you're going to hire McCown or you're going to hire Glenn, can the GM be someone with experience so we're not having 2 newbies coming into the situation? Wouldn't that be nice? My top 3 right now is Flores, McCown, Glenn, of the people they spoke to. They haven't spoken to McCarthy. I probably would hire McCarthy if they interview him. I'm tired of taking these risks. Hire a guy that you know at the bare minimum is a good coach, could build a program, lift your floor, get you out of hell. And in 3 years, if we need to hire a different coach to take the next step and get over the top, fine, I'll worry about it then. But I can't for the life of me seriously comprehend not talking to McCarthy or Carroll at this point. Very frustrating. Ladies and gentlemen, on hold right now is Beastbreaker, who for the last 2 days has remained in probation. I will run another poll if we should take a Beastbreaker call during today's show. While I get that poll set up, we say hello right now to Chris, who I would say is on the total opposite end of the spectrum in regards to years spent watching the Jets from our previous callers. Hello, Chris.
How's it going, Jake?
Chris, Neil, Peter Castro, and Rob from Glenhead have 150 years of Jet watching experience combined. How many years of Jet watching experience do you have?
I started watching the year they drafted Zach Wilson. So how much is that?
So you have 21, 22, 23. So you have 4 years of experience. Got it.
The Jets haven't made the playoff my entire lifetime. And look at those 3 legends. I mean, if people who want us to tank next year, look at what we've endured as fans. How can we take much more?
That's true. That's true. So what year were you born?
2010.
Yep. So you, I mean, you don't even know what a playoff looks like.
Awful. So I was watching the game last night. I was in disbelief. Aaron Glenn's defense was getting lit up by a rookie quarterback. I mean, I don't want the jump ship guy to be, we jump ship to McCown, but, why aren't we interviewing McCarthy? Like, we have to get guys with experience. Flores and McCarthy are the top 2.
Flores and McCarthy, I think, should absolutely be in the conversation. At least Flores is. I can't for the life of me understand why they haven't interviewed Mike McCarthy. It makes no sense to me.
Horrible. That's absolutely horrible.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, so you might notice that the background is different. I'm in Staten Island right now. So if anyone as Maniacs are in Staten Island, I recommend getting Frank and Danny's pizza. It's out of this world. The top one pizza.
A pizza take. Chris, excellent job.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris G. Incredible. All right, the poll is up. Should I take a call from Beastbreaker? There's 533 of you in here. Can you click the like button, please, so we get over 200 likes? We're only at 184. 47% say yes. 53% say no. Yesterday, it was 51-49 no, and we didn't take a call. These are the questions people have. These are the decisions. More of your calls right now. Alex in DC is next. Hey, Alex. Alex, you're on mute.
Better? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. How you doing, man? I'm driving right now. I'm driving back to DC from North Carolina. But reason why I wanted to call was all of these coaches, I feel like we're splitting hairs. At the end of the day, we got to find the quarterback. That doesn't mean that the coach isn't important or anything, but the point I'm trying to raise is whether it's a McCarthy, a Flores, a Pete Carroll, an Aaron Glenn, they're all going to fail if we don't find the quarterback. And the greatest example of that is the Washington Commanders, what we saw last night. And basically, that's just my whole point is whoever the GM is needs to be like it. If I'm the owner, if I'm Woody Johnson and I'm interviewing these guys, what is your plan to help us find a quarterback? I'm 37 years old. We haven't had a franchise quarterback in my life. That's why the Commanders ain't done nothing in my whole lifetime since 1991. They find the quarterback and they're instantly contenders. So all of these coaches like this, I don't understand. Like that's the topic of the day because we're in a head coaching search, but I'm really not going to lose sleep whoever we hire. If we hire Flores, cool. If we hire McCarthy, cool. If we hire Aaron Glenn, cool. How are we getting our quarterback? That's my point.
Well, to your point, though, on that, you also need to think about, well, when you're going to draft that quarterback, it's probably not this year, but it could be next year. How are you developing that quarterback? Sam Darnold, look what he did when he got some real coaching, finally, and a real infrastructure in place. So you still need to hire a coaching staff that can maximize the talent you have and develop a quarterback. Like Dan Quinn is a defensive guy, but you know what he did? He hired Cliff Kingsbury. It was smart. So you gotta you have to think about that as well. It's why I'm more open to McCown than Glenn at this point. Because like I look at Aaron Glenn, I don't see anything that's so special. It's like I have to hire him. I'll roll the dice with McCown over Glenn, but I want Brian Flores or McCarthy, who they haven't even spoken to. I want experience. I'm tired of messing around with these first-time coaches.
But what makes you think? What gives you to the point you just proved with the Dan Quinn? What makes you confident or secure that Flores can put a staff together that could develop a quarterback? You don't know that.
I don't know that, but I know he's maximized his win-loss record without having a great quarterback. That tells me the guy's a good coach, that if we could ever get him a quarterback, hey, maybe it will work.
Let me ask you this, Jake. Bounce another idea off you. Flores, what did he go like 10-6 one year and then like 9-7 or something like that?
Yeah, he was 5-11 that first year with that Dolphins team that was supposed to be the worst team in the league, and they were 0-7, and then they finished 5-4. He was 10-6 and then 9-7, and then he got fired after they went behind his back and tried to get Sean Payton and Tom Brady there.
So his best years, 10-6 and 9-7 with Tua, correct?
Tua and Fitzpatrick.
Chat, don't kill me. Did Robert Saleh go 9 and have that pretty much same record with way worse quarterback play in Zach Wilson and whoever the hell else, Mike White and all these guys? Didn't he do that twice?
Brian Flores was 24 and 25. Robert Saleh was 20 and 36. Flores is a better coach than Saleh.
Yeah, but my question is, when you it can't be that just black and white because you have context matters. Flores had Tua, who was a serviceable, even though he didn't like him, but he was a serviceable quarterback. Where you have Salah, and this is not a pro Salah, but the point I'm trying to make is I just don't see what's so great about Flores, because Salah had a very similar record, if not identical, with way worse quarterback play, way worse.
I mean, the talent disparity between the Jet rosters and those Dolphins rosters is not even comparable. That's why.
The whole roster?
Yeah, the whole roster. The Jets have a good roster. Salah should have. Salah. I mean, look, we'll never know what would have happened this year, but like, I can't deal with the defending Salah. Brian Flores is a better coach.
That's not the argument. Is not the argument. Wasn't from the angle of defending Salah. The argument was I just don't see why Flores is so highly touted by us. I don't see it. I don't hate him. If we hired him tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, let's see how this goes. But
because I think he's the opposite of Salah from a personality standpoint and how he would handle things. He'd be respected and wouldn't be walked over. He'd be a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
The Dolphins were one of the least penalized teams in the league when he was a head coach. The Jets have led the NFL in penalties the last 2 years.
Okay, so you're looking at it from that angle. Isn't I'm leaning on you because I don't know the answer to these questions. Weren't the Cowboys like wasn't discipline an issue for them with McCarthy?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so all these guys got red.
McCarthy's not perfect, Alex. I'm not trying to sell him out to be, Vince Lombardi. I'm simply saying that I rather roll the dice on someone who has proven to be a solid head coach than throw in a first timer, especially one from a defensive background that has never done it, and hope that there's going to be a different result than what's transpired these last 14 years.
No, I get you. Honestly, I've called previously, and I was a Gruden guy. Obviously, I think Gruden's getting the Kaepernick treatment because he has the lawsuit against them and stuff. So he's not getting the job. I just don't have I don't know. Me personally, I don't have a guy that I'm beating the drum for. I'm just like, man, because I don't know at the end of the day. You know what I mean? My thing is, whoever we get, the priority has to be at the end of the day, how are we finding a quarterback, developing a quarterback? And that's what that's when the conversation starts getting to that and I start seeing some things done, in that direction, that's when I'll start believing. Right now, I'm kind of just like, man, whoever we get, let's see how it goes. But I'm not going to hate a hire or love it. I'm just kind of even keel with everything right now. But that's just me, man.
That's the best way to have that approach, Alex. Good call. I mean, we don't know. They could hire Glenn. He could be awesome. He could suck. They could hire Flores. He could be awesome. He could suck. We don't know. I mean, the Jets have gotten the top candidate before, and it didn't work. Salah was the can't-miss top consensus guy. Nick Sirianni is stumbling and bumbling all over his introductory press conference, and he's the last guy left from that 2021 hiring cycle that's still around in these playoffs. Paul D writes in, after last night, Aaron Glenn is disqualified to be the head coach of the Jets. See, this is stupid, Paul. Thanks for the money, though. Frankie writes in, Frankie V in the house. Tank the season, baby. Just kidding. What's up, Frankie? Remember, Josh McCown was up for the Texans head coaching job in 2022, and everything he done thus far to become a head coach, not a coordinator. We are also the only team he's interviewed with at this point. McCown's got a real chance to get this job. Ownership loves him. That's a big part of this. He's played in this market. He's been in this building. He's played for 13 teams. If you're a Jet fan who wanted Glenn, be more open to McCown. Now, I want Brian Flores, and I want Mike McCarthy, and they haven't even interviewed him. But I'm just not going to sit here and go crazy if they hired McCown. I would get it. Honestly, I was on the fence. I now would go McCown over Glenn. I would. I'll roll the dice on the offensive guy and hope I found the next Kevin O'Connell or Cliff Kingsbury, former NFL quarterback that's had success as a head coach. I know we look at Kingsbury as a failure in Arizona. They made the playoffs 1 year out there. Jamila writes in, Gase was hired over McCarthy and Kingsbury. Carroll was fired for Kotite. They don't want the Jets, and you can't blame them. Pete Carroll is not using the Rich Kotite scenario in 1994 when Leon Hess owned the team as a reason where he won't speak to the Jets. That's insane. Mike McCarthy reportedly would love the Jet job, would definitely take an interview. So I don't believe that's true. Is it possible Kingsbury turned them down? Sure. But don't tell me that McCarthy and Carroll, two guys who desperately want to get back in and continue being head coaches in this league, would turn down the Jets. There's no way. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. Update on the poll for Beastbreaker. The Asmaniacs continue to speak. 47% want the Beast to come on the show. 53% say no. Will we ever hear from Beastbreaker again? Many are wondering. Not many know. Will anyone gift a membership during this show? If you do, you have a chance to win a signed Joe Klecko jersey or a signed Garrett Wilson helmet or a replica Super Bowl III championship ring. It's where it's all happening, baby. Let's say hello right now to Jason in Jerusalem, who's up next. Hello, Jason.
Hey, you ship to Israel?
I'm here, baby.
I said you ship to Israel.
Do I ship to Israel? I can for you.
I'm so honored. Well, it means you got somebody at a real pizza store, and I got kosher Pizza Hut being delivered to me soon. So I guess you got both ends of the spectrum here tonight.
I love that.
By the way, shout out to BMAC. We miss you already on the chat.
Look, BMAC certainly caused some controversy yesterday. Now, I want to be clear. He wants it to be known that he supports women because he goes to strip clubs. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was known. First of all, the Carroll talk was ridiculous. If anybody for those who were around back in the Carroll year, he completely lost the team. I mean, after the Dan Marino fake spike, they didn't win another game. And as much as the team dissolved in Kotite, but they needed a change. After blowing that lead to Marino and losing on that fake spike, to not lose the entire game, win the entire game the rest of the season, a change was definitely needed. It's just a shame that he chose Rich Kotite to be the savior. Talking about other teams and their openings, what do you think about John Eric Sullivan? Because it seems like he's going to the Jets from what I'm reading. If you're reading the tea leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I know his name has been mentioned. The other names that are getting buzz is Mike Greenberg, who's with the Bucks, and Alec Hallerby, who's with the Eagles.
Right, because the Packers GM Buchenheist announced basically, we'll miss him. And now that the Titans have their guy already, and they're expecting, from what I'm seeing, Newmark to go to the Raiders, that basically leaves the Jets as the only available option.
Yeah, I mean, if they the Jets and the Raiders are the only teams with GM openings right now.
Right, and I'm seeing that look out for a Newmark Ben Johnson connection there out in Oakland, out in Vegas.
Yeah, I like Newmark as a candidate for the Jets, but if he's connected to Ben Johnson, it makes sense.
Would not surprise me if Glenn went to the Cowboys. He's a Texas guy, went to Texas A&M, played for the Cowboys and Texans, and as much of a Jet fan I am, I think Dallas is a more attractive opening for a coach than the Jets right now. Trying to look at it more objectively, you have a QB in place. Granted, he's coming off of an injury. And sure, you have the Dallas media market, which is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot easier than the New York market. Thoughts on Aaron going to Dallas?
He might be a candidate there. I don't know. I think Jerry's going to end up hiring someone with a bigger name than Aaron Glenn because that seems like the Cowboy way, but we'll see. I mean, Aaron Glenn,
I think
he'll interview there.
I think it'll be Glenn or Kellen Moore, and I think that the fans will riot if it'll be Kellen Moore.
I think it's going to be Dion.
You really think he'll jump to Dion?
I do.
Do you think Dion will succeed there, or do you think he'll just give a lot of publicity?
I think Dion's a good coach. I don't know how he'll be as an NFL coach, but I think he's going to get the job.
There's some good coaches out in that division. That, I mean, obviously, other than what the Giants have going there in their shit show, but other than that, you'll have three good qualities and candidates in the Giants coming up the rear. But I really like what you're saying about going McCown. And, I agree with you on Flores, though personally I put McCown above Flores. I'm not, you always talk about Glenn being Robert Saleh, but wasn't that also Rex? if you remember. How do you view Rex differently than Robert Saleh in terms of the opening press conference and who they hired?
Well, I thought one of the smartest things Rex did was he left some of the Mangini staff in place. He kept Schottenheimer as the OC. He kept Westhoff as the special teams coordinator. And then Rex brought in some of his coaches for sure, like Pettin and Anthony Lynn and so on and so forth. Kept Bill Callahan, by the way, as the O-line coach. And then Rex brought in his guys as well. Like, when and it was a different situation. When Saleh got hired, it was a full-on rebuild. They were coming off a 2-win season. Rex took over a team that won 9 games and should have been a playoff team if Favre didn't get hurt.
Agreed. I mean, obviously, retrospect, it was a good thing Mangini got fired, but most teams would not have fired Mangini at that point.
Correct.
But
I mean, I don't think you can compare what Saleh took over to Rex. It's a different situation.
no, I'm talking about, you're saying that hiring Glenn would be a repeat of a hiring of a Saleh in terms of a defensive coach who talks the talk. And I'm saying that's basically the same talk that Rex Ryan did.
I get it.
If
And
you remember the talk.
ultimately, it didn't work for Rex because once the roster got worse and they needed to, get more from Mark Sanchez, who they drafted, it wasn't good enough.
Right. They went for Derek Mason and what's his name? Wayne Hunter on the offensive line. Chris Jenkins for all of 12 snaps for the year. Yeah, they couldn't maximize the roster and they couldn't hit where they needed to hit in the draft.
Look, I'm not telling you Aaron Glenn, couldn't be a good coach. I'm just saying I don't understand why it's like we got to hire him. Like, no, I think there's a real debate over maybe trying something different than another defensive guy.
Right. Ben Johnson comes across very much as an Adam Gase type of a guy. Brainiac offensive guy. Not sure how well he'll connect with the entire team. Type of guy who will sit on the side perhaps and just draw up plays while the defense is on the field. And sure, Kingsbury had one good year in Arizona, but even in college, guy was not a winner. His college record was awful. I just don't see it. I see him, and if anything attracts him, I'd say him going to Chicago to play with Williams, or even Jacksonville to get Lawrence. I don't know why anybody would go with Jacksonville when Balky will be out in a year. Then again, Balky should have been out 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. What am I supposed to respond to there?
You could agree. I mean, the only thing the Jets have to offer is that you are coming in with a fresh slate with a new GM. You're not going to be. You're not coming in with a GM. Yeah,
a talented roster,
but without the QB.
Okay, well, you could decide what you want to do with Rodgers for a year, and you can get your quarterback in 2026.
Oh, it's not fully your decision with Rodgers. I mean, Rodgers does have a say in it.
For sure, but I mean, I'd be surprised based on his comments the other day if he's going to retire now.
He's always been very cryptic with the media.
Yeah, but I think part of Rodgers being hesitant to fully declare is I feel like he'd be embarrassed if he's like, I want to play for the Jets, and then the Jets cut him. I think it'd be a blow to his ego.
Rodgers is also the type of guy who'll tell the Jets, I don't want to play, and then tell the public, oh, I was willing to do it, but they just don't want me.
Maybe. We'll see. But I think they got to figure out what direction they want to go in with the coach and GM, and then that will give you an idea on maybe where they're leaning with Rodgers.
If you had to rank the openings right now, which one is the least attractive to a candidate?
I think the Saints job stinks. The roster's not good, and you have no salary cap to really improve it for at least a year.
I'd agree with that one. Who's above the Saints?
Jets
or Jags?
I mean, if you like Trevor Lawrence, you could argue the Jags job, and plus the division's not great. So it depends on your feeling on him. I mean, I don't think the Raider job is good at all. I mean, the roster's fine. It's not great. You don't have a quarterback, and you're in a division with Mahomes, Herbert, Bo Nix, and look at the coaches on those teams.
Right, other than the fact that you have Brady as an owner and
great, he's not playing
brand
for
new
you.
Facility. Yeah, but you at least get a new GM there, as opposed to, like I said, working with a Balky or a Poles out in Chicago.
Who cares, though? They can have all the GMs they want and Brady as the owner. It's not going to make them have a quarterback.
Yeah, but when you come in and you know that your GM is on thin ice, if he gets fired, who knows what's going on with you? You have such little job security with that. You at least have more security when you're going to a new position with a new GM. I mean, how much security does Callahan have now in Tennessee, knowing that there's a new GM in place?
I don't know. I'm just telling you, I don't think the Raiders job is that good of a job. I don't see the appeal.
That's the cap room there. They got tons, right?
I don't have their cap in front of me.
If you
Not
hire
sure.
McCown, other than Eberflus, which DC would you want? Former
If they
former
hired
coach.
McCown, which DC
If
would
they
I
hired
want?
Miko, yeah, I'd say Wink. If he's willing to live you with up.
Wink Martindale would be very good. I think that's a good suggestion, Jason. I don't know if he'd leave Michigan to come back to the NFL, but I'd be okay with Wink Martindale. Dan says, hypothetical. It's down to McCown and Glenn for head coach. Who are you taking? At this point, I'd go McCown. Why not? Why not? Aaron Glenn might be awesome. Let's roll the dice on an offensive guy if we're going to do the first-time coach thing. I'm so sick of the defensive guy. Everyone's hyping up Aaron Glenn all week, and it's like, I get it. He played for the Jets, says the right thing in the press conference. I'm just like, I want Brian Flores, I want Mike McCarthy, but if I'm going to do the first-time coach and these are my options, I'll go McCown. At least at least you're not worried about him dealing with Woody and Chris. He knows them. They love him. Love him. He's been a quarterback. You know, I'd like the GM to have experience. Could we get an experienced GM then if we go McCown? Can we get Dimitrov as the GM? Yeah, at least we're taking the chance on an offensive guy for once. I don't get the we have to hire Glenn at all costs. Like, maybe. Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that, because the Lions defense was shit last night, I can't hire Aaron Glenn now. I'm not going to say that, but Troy says Aaron Glenn is a leader, McCown ain't. Saying Josh McCown is not a leader is one of the most asinine things that has ever been said in the history of this program. And that is saying a lot. I mean, good Lord.
He stinks.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. You're fired. Suck it, truthers.
I mean, come on. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. More of your calls right now. Aurora is up next. Hello, Aurora.
Hi, Jake. Long time no speak.
Where have you been?
You know, life happens, you know. A lot of things going on, but finally back, finally the off season. So honestly, my take with all this, I think you need to find the right balance between experience and first time. I think there is going to be some first time, you know, coaching on like whether side of the ball, like whether it's offense or defense. But I also think we need to value experience as well. Personally, myself, I think I would rather take an experienced GM versus an experienced head coach. But then also the coaching staff having some sort of experience. So if we go with Josh McCown as like head coach, we go ahead and have some experience on the defensive side of the ball, like hiring a experienced defensive guy in order to build up that defensive line, because that is also like one of my concerns about the Jets right now is like their entire defensive line is decimated. So I feel like we need to be able to rebuild that back up, and that used to be our strong suit right there. And the offensive side, I feel like we have all the playmakers on there. It's just finding a system that actually works and that everyone's on the same page with the system versus the actual talent. Versus the defensive side of the ball, I think we need the talent in order for the system to work. So that's my take right now with that.
They need everything. I mean, they need the whole defensive system that they ran is going to be gone because, I mean, Salah's gone and Ulbrich. Any chance of him sticking around as the DC to figure out who the coach is? That ended yesterday when he took the Falcons DC job.
Yeah. Like I said, I think you have to have a balance, and I think you're going to see that there's going to be some first-time names thrown out in the Jets, and then there's going to be some people who have experience. And I also think the 33rd team is taking their time with this. I would be very interested to see how long did the Commanders take last year to hire their GM and their head coach within the search, because I haven't done that research at all. But I'd be very interested, but I'm okay with them taking their time. I just want them to have something established and before everything kicks off for the off season, with it comes down to the Senior Bowl and everything. team. So
January 15th of last year, the Commanders hired Adam Peters. Let's see when they hired Dan Quinn. Let's see. February 3rd.
okay, so I mean, we're not too far off from that right now. So I wouldn't be, like I said, I'm just being patient with this, seeing what they come back with. And that's pretty much it. And, hopefully we get the experience as well as the first time. And then, just go from there and seeing what they build.
I hope so. They got to get it right, Aurora. They need to get it right.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Thanks for calling in, Aurora. Appreciate it as always. All right. We'll do a few more here. M. King has gifted 5 memberships. The first person this entire show to spread it to the channel. Let's go, baby. Sound the alarm. 5 raffle entries for M. King, Flex Plexigo, Nate, parentheses Nate, Cactus Johnny, Hennessy Heisman, all receiving channel memberships right there from M. King. Appreciate you, M. King. Michael with a super chat. Do we not contend for experienced coaches because of our owner and the words out? I don't buy that. They could interview McCarthy and Gruden and Carroll, and they would take interviews here. They haven't. They interviewed Arthur Smith and Matt Nagy and Ron Rivera and Rex Ryan. Why not talk to guys that won Super Bowls? McCarthy's a good coach. Super chat from M. King. That's 2 raffle entries for M. King as well. Cha-ching. I would like McCown or Glenn. I think last year we saw that offensive players are ahead of the defense. I want a coach who wants to be in New York and can get this D back to being stellar. Hit the like button. I mean, I like Aaron Glenn too. I don't think it's a no-brainer. You got to hire him like it was made to be this whole week. I never understood that. More calls right now. Kyle Clifton's next. Hey, Kyle.
What's going on, Jake? I can't see why people are just moving off Glenn after one game. It drives me a little nuts. The 2 players that they lost in the beginning of the season are so key to their defense. For him to have one bad game, and I see people in the chat talking about adjustments and in-game changes, and doesn't really. It's one game. At the end of the day, it's one game. If you think this guy can be a leader of men, then how is the defense performed in one playoff game does not really dictate his chances of getting a head coaching job. That's how I feel about it.
I agree with that. I also just don't think that Aaron Glenn was this lock. They got to hire. I never I think
it's likely, but I don't think he has to be the guy. I think there are good candidates out there.
He's a good candidate. I've been consistent with that, but I keep reminding everyone. I even played it on the show this week. Everything we're saying about Glenn, we said the exact same thing about Robert Saleh. People that conveniently forget that.
Right. McCown makes me very nervous just because of the lack of experience. It seems like the fan base doesn't really know what they want. The one head scratcher through this whole thing is McCarthy because I think he has 10 double-digit win seasons in 18 years. That's a guy you got to talk to. That's something, and he, if he did want to keep Aaron Rodgers, that would speak volumes. That's the kind of stuff that I think that we should be, the guy we should be talking to. Gruden's been out a little bit now. I understand, wondering whether Carroll has that much left. But I don't understand not talking to McCarthy at all. Did you see the rumor that the Raiders are maybe looking to pair Newmark with Ben Johnson in Las Vegas?
I did see that. Yeah. So there'd be another potential candidate for the Jets at GM that is gone.
The rumor was, and I think that Buffalo had this on his channel, that they were paring down to 3 finalists this weekend that they would talk to early this week. My best guess on that is probably John Eric Sullivan, Newmark, and maybe Hallaby. Do we think that's fair? Or Dimitrioff, I guess. Right?
I think Greenberg is in consideration too. I think they're going to end up hiring 2 guys to the front office. I still feel that way.
What would their roles be?
I think they'll have a director of football ops and a GM. I think that's why they interviewed 15 candidates. I think, and that also would explain why maybe it's taking so long. Maybe they're vetting these candidates, being like, "Hey, would you be open for this role and not the GM role?" Right? I think maybe that's part of it. Like how many, maybe through back channels, they're talking to these guys about particular roles they might be in.
So in other words, you put someone who's been a president like Spielman at the top, or someone who's an analytics guy, or someone who's a cap guy like
That would
Halvey
at
or
least make
Greenberg.
sense to me, right? Wouldn't that make sense why it's taken so long and why we've heard so little about second rounds? Because that's going on right now to figure out, get their ducks in a row on what they're trying to do organizational wise with structuring this.
Yeah, I don't mind them taking their time. I hope that at the end of it they're able to find the right guy. That's the only thing. Thanks, Jake.
What happened to Kyle? He just left? I had a tech issue and Kyle just quit the show? This was your opportunity, Kyle. You could have said whatever you wanted, and there was nothing I could have done about it. Nothing. You could have said F Beastbreaker and got your revenge. You didn't take advantage of it. Man. Tyrone with a super chat. $20 or $10 super chat. Tyrone, I appreciate it, man. 2 raffle entries for you with this one. The games yesterday were pretty good. I wish we were playing. Aaron Glenn had a bad game. His face showed he was worried, maybe thinking too much of being a coach. I hope we get it right. Go Jets. I don't know if it was that, Tyrone, but his defense had a terrible game yesterday. Awful game. Awful game. And afterwards, Aaron Glenn said, Alan, this is for you. Incredible. All right. Comments, questions, super chats. M. King gifted 5 memberships before. He's the only person to get in the raffle from a membership gift perspective. So I might even do the raffle tomorrow on the holiday. A lot of people will be off from work, be tuned into the show. I got Sabo coming on in the morning. I will post in the Discord if we do the raffle tomorrow. So this could be the last show, aka to get in. Paul D with a super chat. Can someone in the chat please explain why Glenn is better than Flores? Why Glenn and not Vic Fangio, for example? Fangio has had coaching experience. I mean, Fangio was not good in Denver. That's why. I think Flores is a better candidate than Aaron Glenn, so you're preaching to the choir there. Joe M says, just bring on Beast while we're at it. Hire him for GM. I like his chances of luring Andy Reid. I'll tell you what, I think the chat would vote yes to a Beastbreaker call if he promises Andy Reid as the Jets coach. If Beast got Andy Reid, I believe that this chat would be completely won over by the Beast. Yeti's up next. Hey, Yeti.
Salud. How you doing, man? Can you hear me? My internet going okay?
I hear you, Yeti. What do you got for us?
Right on. Okay. I want to give a quick shout out to Jamison Crowder. Dude's going to be in the NFC Championship.
Jet legend, Jamison Crowder.
Damn right, man. He made it. And Zach Ertz, dude, he really added a lot to that team. They're like really good right now. And I really I almost saw the perfect game from them last night. Other than missing that one field goal, wasn't that pretty much a perfect game? Straight? Well, they stopped them once for a field goal, but other than that, every possession was a touchdown. They went right down the field. Am I wrong on that?
I mean, the Commander offense was unstoppable last night.
Yeah, I don't think they got stopped. They scored every play except for that missed field goal at the end, and when they took the knee.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think they scored every play. And shout out to them. It's impressive. They're going to be scary. They're going to be scary. You know, I don't know. It'd be nice to see some success like that for us. Like, who would have thought Jaden Daniels would be the stud he turned into? But cool. We thought we had him in Zachy, boy, but you know, things happen. Coaching stuff. I don't know. You know, I love Josh, but OC. I don't know if he's ready for a head coach. Sorry, I'm watching this in the background. I'll stop. I'll pay attention more. But It's still going on in the background. They're showing the highlights of the game last night, and it's like the best football game I ever saw. It's like a Madden game. It was just, I mean, aside of no defense, it was just watching two of your high school or college friends play Madden and just going head to head, head to head. And
King Nige writes in, hang up on homie, he's depressing. I'm worried about his depression. Yeti, I had to get rid of you. No, I'm just kidding. Look, it's the second year in a row that we've seen the number 2 pick in the draft win at least one playoff game. Jaden Daniels has won 2. Got to get the quarterback right. But you also need the right coaching. Like, that's part of this too. The Jets are not in position to get the quarterback this year. So get the best coach, start building an infrastructure, a program, and then hopefully you hit on the quarterback in 26, and that's what they do in the first round.
Oh, true that. Great point, man. Yeah, I don't want to impress anybody. You got anybody else in the background? I'll take off.
Yeah, I tons of people.
Awesome. Later.
I'm just kidding, Yeti, but I appreciate the call. Purple Belt Mike with a great point. I keep thinking of when the Jets destroyed the Commanders at a joint practice. How did that happen? And Rodgers didn't even play that day, too. It was in the rain. Remember they sat him at a precaution? And he was pissed. Garrett Wilson dominated that practice. It was insane. Him and Tyrod. That was ridiculous, dude. And the Jet defense dominated Jaden Daniels. Sauce had like a huge deflection on like a 4th down on the drive the field period at the end. It's a great day. I sat next to Robert Saleh's brother at that joint practice. David Saleh, very nice guy. And I thought this team was going to be good. Unreal. And it's the Commanders in the NFC title game, and the Jets won 5 games. Janice Jets in on the raffle. 5-channel membership. I think that guy. I know, right? Michael Petagrosa, Jaden D'Angelo, Billy Rex Ryan is definitely going to be the Jet head coach. Milanovic, Mickey Rosa, delusional Jet fan, all receiving channel memberships. Congrats to our new members, and thank you very much, Janice, for supporting the channel. Beastbreaker is still on hold. He just wrote into me, if I don't get on this chat, I'm leaving this mother effing crybaby paid show and never coming back. I had enough of this crybaby bleep. You're all a bunch of bleep. And I had enough of you, and you're bleep, bleep, pissing me bleep off. Let me talk football, you bleep jock sniffers. Not great, Beastbreaker. I would say consider apologizing for your use of language last time you were on. And I think the chat would be welcoming to bringing you back. Unfortunately, though, that hasn't happened yet. And Beastbreaker, to this point, remains in the hole. Now look what you've done. Beastbreaker 666. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to cut your call off and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. Do you understand me? You catch my drift?
Are you seriously on crack? I think
give them another 24 hours to think about it.
How about you bending over and taking up the booty hole behind the 7-Eleven?
Man, tough scene. All right. We got one guy on hold right now that the audience is dying to hear from. He electrified the show yesterday with one of the great calls you'll ever see. Gator, I need you to put me on Gator 1 right now. You're uploading something potentially, and I can't even get the intro going here. Yeah, Gator, you got to leave so I can have some control here. Damn it, Gator. You guys that don't know what's happening here. I can't even get this intro. Let me get to the super chat here, then I'll do a reset so I can introduce this guy properly. Ace tag, getting lit up is forgivable. 12 men on the field at a pivotal point in the game is a deal breaker. Brian Flores, please like the channel. Yeah, Flores, of the guys they spoke to, Flores is still number 1 for me. He has been the whole time, although, I'd be the first to tell you Glenn was growing on me as a candidate, but I wasn't like, you got to hire him. I'm not going to kill the Jets if they hired him. It could work. It could also suck. I just want experience, man. I want experience. All right. I got to reset the channel here because I have no control. Stand by. All right. Let's see if this works now. We got to give this guy a proper welcome to the show. After his team, led by the NFL officials, picked up another playoff win.
It's Chiefs fan.
Guess what? I'm still looking for a job, bitches.
It's Chiefs fan.
I'm just going to rub my hands together all day.
It's Chiefs fan.
There's a whole lot of DNA on this couch.
Let's hear it for Chiefs fan.
Look, it's my dead neighbor that I did.
Good one, Gator. Yeah, I do agree with those questionable calls yesterday. Like, even as a Chiefs fan, I'm like, there was like 1 or 2 baby calls, for my team, and I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry for the language there, but
must be nice to be a Chiefs fan.
I feel like my family members text me. I'm like, how's it feel to like be like have a quarterback with Tom Brady getting all these calls? I'm like, I feel dirty. That's what I texted them back.
I mean, sometimes the Chiefs getting every call from the refs could be a little overblown. That was the most egregious officiating I have ever seen.
I don't think those refs should be at the Super Bowl, but knowing the NFL, they're going to let them.
I mean, it was unwatchable how bad that was. And also, Mahomes flopping like Josh Allen, I lost a lot of respect for your guy.
I did too. I don't like anyone like LeBron flopping. Whoever does that, like, come on now. I've never liked LeBron, but you're flopping like LeBron. I'm like, I love my quarterback, but don't do that shit. That's some weak shit. Football's like a sport where everyone's like trying to get these easy penalties now. And I remember watching in the 90s when you could just fuck someone up and get away with it. Watching the 70s and 80s Super Bowl highlights on ESPN Classic, you could literally body break someone and get away with it.
Are you aware that you're a Frozen Chiefs fan? So we just have this like scintillating image of you.
I do not know why I'm frozen though. Do you want me to rejoin?
No, this is a great image of you. Now tell us about your steaks yesterday. What happened on the grill?
We did not do that because my friend's truck wouldn't start. His truck wouldn't start, and he's one of those people who doesn't trust new trucks. Has a truck from the 2000s, so he was gonna Uber over here, bring the food, and we were gonna order stuff, but the senior cats weren't feeling the best.
I see.
Oh, Beastbreaker, I don't give a fuck about you, boy.
Hey, stop responding to Beastbreaker.
My bad. But he didn't go down, so we're gonna probably do the steaks another day. I don't know why I'm frozen on your end.
Beastbreaker writes in, I will power bomb you, Chiefs fan. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are he's just a little crybaby. He's acting like a toddler. Like, you need to learn to apologize for words. Like, words like that hurt people. Words like that are the reason why I witnessed people get shot over those type of words. But there was not the soft A, it was the hard R. Damn, I wish my camera was. I don't know if it's on my end or your end the camera's frozen, but all I know is this: I am appalled by my quarterback a little bit, and the refs.
You're appalled by it. Must be nice to be appalled after winning another playoff game.
Well, here's the thing. I know it must be nice, but I'm like flopping like that. Come on now. Like I said, flopping like that is a LeBron move, and I've never liked LeBron. He's always tried to be better than Jordan. I'm a Jordan guy. But I'm just going to say this real fast before you get going. I would love to see Josh McCown as your head coach after watching that game last night. I know Aaron Glenn could still be good, but I believe like bringing someone who used to be a Jets player, worked on the staff, bringing in someone who's friendly, easy to work with, has a backbone, who's been in New York City, who's put up with the BS before, who's worked with the organization after being a player. I think he could be good for you.
I see.
And honestly, like, no one gave Dan Quinn a chance, and look what he did. So basically, all you just have to do if you give Josh a chance, you never know. Miracles might happen. I'm like, you might break it. Even if you have Tyrod Taylor in your backup quarterback you drafted from Florida State, you
Hold
might
on one
still have
second.
a
I have
chance.
some housekeeping to attend to. Alan claims that some Jet fans might root for Josh Allen next Sunday, but they won't admit it. I can tell you what will not happen, that, Alan. Also, we're off the Lions. We're back to loving the Bills now. You are a disgrace, Alan. A disgrace.
Now look what you've done, Alan. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
No one's rooting for the Buffalo Bills. We're going to root probably against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl if that happens, but no one's rooting for the Bills. Alan, you're such a fraud. Anyway, Chiefs fan, why don't you refresh your browser? Because as much as I enjoy this screenshot, I think we want to see you in action.
All right, one sec.
All right, thanks for the time. Kyle Clifton is back with us. Kyle, I gave you the floor to host your own show, and you just left immediately.
I panicked. It was a panic move. What else can I say? No, but I'm sorry about that. Technical difficulties, I guess. What is going on in the chat, man? With the beast.
It's the private chat, so the public can't see it.
Okay. A little scary. But yeah.
He's Beastbreaker. He's your favorite. This is what you wanted.
I
You
don't
didn't
know.
want him on the show. You take full responsibility for this. You didn't want him. Guess what? You don't have him.
I'm cool with it. So yeah. I think the point I was trying to finish is if it's gonna be Glenn, we've got to get him someone he's comfortable with this week. Right? If it's not gonna be Glenn, I think we do have a couple of good gym candidates out there that we'd be willing to work with a viable head coach. I like John Eric Sullivan. And Hallaby, I don't know that much about. I hadn't considered Greenberg until you mentioned him, but I know he's very well thought of. The fact that there might be two guys hired is intriguing to me. But I mean, I guess we're gonna have to. I think we'll find out how this all shakes out within this next business week.
I hope. I mean, I felt like we'd have second rounds this past week, and we didn't. So they can talk to anyone now, basically in person, starting tomorrow. So it should pick up in theory. But you got to get a GM first.
Yeah. I appreciate your time, Jake. Thanks.
I appreciate it, Kyle. Good call. Next time we give you a chance to host a Kyle Clifton show, I hope you take full advantage. Man. Beastbreaker writes in, Kyle, bleep, bleep, you bleep. Beastbreaker to Cheats fan in the private chat. Cheats fan, I will fight you and rip your throat out. Strong words from Beastbreaker, who remains in the hole. He's on probation. And the chat had a chance to bring him on. And 56% of you have said no to the Beast. Now, I am a capital fish, though. 10 memberships, and I will temporarily remove Beast from the hole and allow him to say his piece. Because I don't bring him on. It's how could you not bring him on? I do bring him on. Oh, how could you do it? It's a no-win situation.
It's Chiefs fan.
Guess what? I'm still looking for a job, bitches.
It's Chiefs fan.
I'm just going to rub my hands together all day.
It's Chiefs fan.
There's a whole lot of DNA on this couch.
Let's hear it for Chiefs fan.
Look, it's my dead neighbor that I didn't kill.
I did not know what happened. I had to update Chrome. I'm one of my old Chromebooks that I just had to start working on since I know the older models. Trying to get Linux on it. I did not know what happened there. But yeah, like I was saying before, I hope you guys get McCown. And I honestly think something magical could probably come from it, even if it is like a bridge to maybe a 4-year window to go to the Super Bowl, like how certain like Dan Quinn's on that bridge, just slowly get his team to the Super Bowl. And
They
he's
hit
only
on a
been
quarterback. That's allowed them to
yeah.
have this window now. They got Jane
Yeah.
Daniels on a rookie contract for the next 4 years.
Honestly, I don't want you guys to tank next year for a quarterback, but like I hope you guys get a quarterback. I also don't want you to go through what the Niners went through. 3 first-rounders and Trey Lance was a bust. I don't want you guys to go through that. Like, even the Rams have learned not to F them picks. I'm hoping good stuff comes from it for you. Sorry, my camera froze before. I'm one of my older models. So I have like a bunch of old Chromebooks. Like people give me when they don't use their Chromebooks anymore, they break. Because I'm kind of good at fixing these things. I'm slowly learning. But yeah, I'm just hoping that everything goes better for you guys, Jet fans. Like the hopes being sucked out of your lungs and all that. I don't like that. It reminds me of my baseball team this past year too. Just like the World Series, let my hopes down for my uncle.
Chiefs fan, what are your thoughts on BMAC saying that you're greater than everybody?
I can't be greater than everybody. We got Charles here, the guy who farts on stream and eats pizza on stream. Come on now.
That's right.
We also got the guy who talks up close. He's a legend. We got Kyle Clifton. He's a legend.
Now, do you think that BMAC saying yesterday that he goes to strip clubs, which means he supports women, do you think that helps his case?
That's not how you support women. They belittle women there, BMAC. Come on now.
He also says he goes to the beach and enjoys women in bikinis. Do you think that makes him a pro-women advocate?
I think that makes him a sexaholic or whatever they call it these days. I'm like, BMAC, come on now. Like, I'm like, you're objectifying them. Come on, man. You can't objectify women. They're the birth givers. They're the ones who kept this world going since the Stone Ages. Come on now. They died during birth during the Middle Ages. Come on now. You can't do that to the females.
I see.
And if people say I'm too soft for that, I'm like, look at the 1920s. They had to fight to vote. And they still don't get equal pay. Like, come on now. Don't objectify them. Thanks, Joe. That's the other thing. I'm like, no one's greater than anyone here, but yeah, I agree, Rick. No offense, B-Mac. Come on now. Like, even South Park did a skit on strippers, multiple skits on strippers, and they hit them hard. Like how they were treated, like in the earlier skits, and then like in the video game Fractured But Whole, they hit how bad females are treated in the strip club. What the fuck, Larry? Can you hold that guy, Jake?
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Shit like that pisses my PC ass off. I'm like PC principal when shit like that goes down. But I just hope everyone has a happy football Sunday. You know, Jake's gonna be leaving a little bit soon. Honestly, just hoping that the Ravens win and the Rams win. It's fine, Bernard. You're learning. Not that many people. You didn't just outright say what Larry said. Like, if Larry's right next to me, I'd punch him in the fucking throat for saying that shit. I don't give a fuck. I'll make sure he has a hard time breathing. That's all I'm gonna say. I've done that to someone before when they said women shouldn't have the right to vote. Checked them right in the fucking jaw, and then when they tried to say something else, I went right in the fucking jugular. But this is back in my 20s when I had more anger issues than I had in my teens. Even though they reformed me, I still had anger issues until they sent me back to reform school for a year in my 20s. But you don't say that about females, man. Like, seriously.
It's Chiefs fan.
Guess what? I'm still looking for a job, bitches.
It's Chiefs fan.
I'm just going to rub my hands together all day.
It's Chiefs fan.
There's a whole lot of DNA on this couch.
Let's hear it for Chiefs fan.
Look, it's my dead neighbor that I didn't kill.
All right, one last call, and then we will wrap up a Sunday show. I'm on ESPN Radio today, ESPN New York, from 4 to 6:30. So call in and talk Jets with me there if you want to. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Thank you
Hello,
for
Bob.
having me on. I didn't know I was on time. Okay, I was only joking about that. Didn't you? Yeah, you had that on tape. But, and then also your cash cow is in the back. He's never going to come back on cash cow.
What do you, Bobby? One, you're mumbling. Can't hear you. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Your cash cow is in the back.
No, he's not.
Yes. Oh, he's not back there anymore. Okay, you put him.
I have a new rule for Bobby. When you say things that no one in the chat understands, I'm not sitting here having to explain it to the thousands of people that are going to tune in after. I don't have the patience. I can't. I'm good. Now I got Bobby going.
I know.
Yes, Bobby.
I didn't finish my thought. And with BMAC, forget it. I think he went, you know what strip bar he go to? He lived in that part of the area, Fuzzy Grape area. But he went to the Fuzzy Grape. He lives around that area.
You believe BMAC went to the Fuzzy Grape?
Yeah, that's where I think so. Fuzzy Grape, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
BMAC is never calling in anymore.
Oh, thank God, yeah. And then with his thing on women, too. Girls run away from me, so so I don't think the girls flock to him. So you're on today at 4 to 6, you said?
4 to 6:30.
All right, call in.
Are you
And
gonna
is
call
that guy
in?
going to be in the back, the nice guy?
This is what I mean, Bobby. I don't know what you're talking about.
The guy who called in, you got to answer, what's your name? Where you from?
Yeah, there'll be a producer who will screen your call. It's not like this where you just get on right away.
Oh, I know. You know, WFA and does that too. You know,
it's a call screener.
Al Dukes don't wait too much. You know. No, he let me on one time. I think we squished the beef with that. So yeah, what about the Kansas City Chiefs game? It was horrendous, wasn't it?
The officiating was horrendous.
Pathetic. I mean, Patrick Mahomes running around like a little girl. Then he slides late. Then we get a penalty on that. What about Matthew Stafford that got knocked in his head with his, and then no penalty on that?
Pat Rudy says, used to feel bad for Bobby, kind of a douche.
What does he say?
He said he used to feel bad for you, but you're kind of a douche.
Thank you for the compliment, Pat Douche. You're a douchebag. Back to you. Congratulations for typing. You're
Pittsburgh Mike
typer.
says, what's the point, buddy? It seems like the chat is demanding you get into your points quicker, Bobby. Can we work on that?
Hey, Pittsburgh Mike, what you get in and talk once in a while? You know, talk. So, all right. Sorry to waste your time, Dick. You're an awesome guy.
Oh, look
Well,
who
I hope
called
you have
in.
a good-
Beast Breaker's back on hold, Bobby.
Oh, hi, Beastbreaker. Come on in.
No, he's on probation right now. The chat is spoken.
know.
They
Let me
voted
talk-
55 to 45.
Oh, yeah, okay. Jay, you're not allowed to say that word on YouTube anyway. The N-word. No N-word. No more. But apologize to the audience, and then maybe they will come back to you.
He won't.
Please apologize.
And
Trying to give
also, I don't care if you're quoting a song like he was. You can never
Yeah,
use
you're
that
not
word.
supposed to say the N word right on it. Look what happened to me when I had the dick pic on my thing. Look what happened there. I got my thing done. You want Jake's show to go down just because there was an N word on that? No. He has 41,000K. Imagine that. What happened to him? I don't know. Did you get any?
Quest writes in, Bobby stayed up way too late playing poker last night.
Yeah, I did. You two, you were playing with your train, playing with your poker last night too.
BMAC writes in, women are my life.
You are a liar piece of crap, Bernard BC. I don't believe you. And you leave my Jay Graves alone. Don't let that man come out of your mouth anymore. And Hawk has Sarah. So 0 for 2 in the women's department there, young man. Sorry to tell you. So no more N word, and then
Bobby Beasley writes in, Bobby, shut up. You've become the biggest diva and have allowed fame to get to you.
Oh, Bobby Beasley, how you doing? I like you. You're a great guy. You're a nice guy. I really like you. See what a compliment I just gave him.
I see.
I gave him a great compliment. Oh no, we gotta be nice to Bobby Beasley. He's not that word. No, I wouldn't say he's that word. Okay, don't worry about him. Don't worry about what he says. Don't worry. I like him. I'm changing my colors now.
Jake says to celebrate 41K, allow Beast on. Well, how many subscribers do I have right now? Right now I have 40,981. So we're not at 41
No,
yet.
that's not the thing, Jake. Jake, it's the reason Jake's going to get his thing shut down if there's any. Don't they say that racial thing in there? The
Bobby,
policies,
why don't you
right?
let me handle dealing with Mr. Tube at YouTube? All right. I'm not an amateur
Yeah, I
like
know.
you. All right. I want to allow male genitalia to get on my show.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I know. I didn't even know he was going to do that. It was a surprise. All right, Jake. I hope you have a great radio show.
Thanks, Bobby. You have a good day, all right?
I try. I do want the Ravens against the Smelly Bills, and I want the Rams over the Smelly Eagles. So yeah, that would be good. Chiefs came up with a good. And
All right.
Chiefs didn't give us anything about his grilling yesterday. Ask him the next time you know.
No, he said that there was an issue with the grill.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Well,
That
he's a
was
good
sad.
guy, and I love Chiefs fan. I love you too. Okay, bye,
Farewell,
everybody.
Bobby. Farewell. When was the last time you took a shower?
I don't know. Thursday evening.
You haven't showered since Thursday? You probably reek. Oh. He stinks.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta be disgusting. Jayquest, that was a wild conversation. I still don't know what the point was. There's never a point. Bobby, here's what we're gonna do. Your next couple of calls, come in with a point of emphasis that you're gonna try to make, and we'll see throughout the course of the call if you hit it. All right, fun show. Appreciate everyone tuning in this morning. Enjoy the games today. We will be back tomorrow with Robbie Sabo, and I think we're going to do the raffle tomorrow. I'll decide later today. I got to add all the memberships to our Wheel of Names, but the Klecko jersey and the GW autographed helmet will be raffled away most likely tomorrow with our 10 a.m. show. So, again, thank you all for your support. We will end the show with a couple things that need to be done. First things first.
I think the second one. Excuse me.
All right. Now that we've played that, we can now move forward. Hope everyone enjoys their day. JETS. Jets, Jets, Jets.
I'm better, Beast. How you doing?
Hey, how you? Hey, we sang you that Whopper song. Hey, Jake, let's give him that Whopper song. Whopper, Whopper at BK. We're on the move at BK. Have it your way. You rule.
You rule, yeah.
Hey, I hope you get that job at Burger King, my friend.
We're here with Charles Gorman. Charles, you're about to get into your Uber, which I called for you specifically to leave Don Jose Mexican Restaurant. Give us the breakdown on the night. Did you have fun?
I had a good time. People were very nice. The food is good. I'm sorry I couldn't stay for long. My parents wanted me to be home at a certain time. I know I'm a grown-ass man, but their house, their rules. If you guys want to, do something like this, I'll try to come to it. Anyways, have a good day and stay healthy and God bless.
Charles, thank you for the time.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he goes. Charles Gorman, everybody. One of one. A legend of our time. Go Jets. God bless America.